Hey, welcome to another amazing episode of Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling Podcast. And before we get started, I have some coaching announcements as per usual. Now, first thing is my Cycling Skills 4-week workshop for women who are new to cycling. I'm super excited about this, and it starts this Thursday. So basically, what you're going to get is me as a coach for a full month plus one workshop a week. So 1 hour, we're going to go over different types of cycling skills. Then you're going to get some homework. You're going to try it out. You're going to come back. We're going to have a Q&A later on in the week so you can ask questions about the drills and the skills. And it's going to be so much fun. And I'm so excited about being able to help more women feel more comfortable in cycling. I just love it. Anyways, go to cyclingskillspro.com. Go check it out. Check out the videos. Get registered. We're going to be starting soon. It's a very small group that I'm allowing into this workshop because I don't want to oversaturate it right away. And I just want you to get the most out of it. And I'm so excited. So we have a private group. You got the Q&As. You've got me. You've got weekly skills sessions where I'm going to talk. You're going to work out and you're going to get everything and you're going to go out and try it. And I have lots of other bonuses too. So go check it out, cyclingskillspro.com. Today, we start this Thursday. It's going to be super amazing. Can't wait to meet you and help you get better at cycling. In addition, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And don't forget to put those comments and follow this podcast. We have so many amazing interviews coming up in the next month. You don't want to miss it. Take care and have an amazing day. Oh my God, this is so exciting, but so long. All right, we're going to get started. Cool. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling with your host, Sylvie Dow. And I am really, really excited to be talking to this guy, Rob Good. I have known him for over a decade, probably a decade and a half. And how I know him, and this is what I know of him, because I get to make his bio because he didn't send me one. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to make something up. No, so when I started my women's cycling club in 2008, there was, I think, 3 years that we came down for a weekend over the winter to just get into and try track cycling. So it was kind of like a bonding weekend for the girls, for the team, just breaking up the winter of indoor cycling and skiing and to learn something new, really. Cause I've been there 3 times and I've done level 1 3 times. I'm like, I've never been back there. And this is how I met Rob. So Rob was my contact. I found him. I said, hey, Rob, I'd like to bring a bunch of girls up. And he's like, cool. And he's the one who set everything up in Forest City in London, Ontario. So we're going to call it FCV. I probably say Forest City, but Rob will probably say FCV. So if you hear that, that's what that means, because somebody was throwing around like, what's that mean? And so it's the acronym. And so welcome, Rob. He's still doing amazing things with cycling. He was back then. He's created something new. He's going to be talking about it. And I'm really, really excited to have him on here because he's doing some really fantastic things with kids and cycling in the London, Guelph area?
Kitchener-Waterloo, correct.
Kitchener-Waterloo. Nah, it's all kind of way west of Toronto. West of Toronto. So welcome, Rob, to the podcast.
Thanks, Sylvie.
All right. All right. We're just going to start like that. So, Rob, and I like to start it this way, is just asking about how you got into cycling. Back as a kid, maybe a young adult, teen, how did it start?
Started when I was 14, 15. There was a bike-a-thon in Kitchener-Waterloo where the Waterloo Cycling Club organized a ride from Waterloo to Elora to Fergus and back to through Maryhill and back to Waterloo. A couple of buddies of mine said, "Hey, let's go do it." And we were on little beater bikes, and we had started before the Waterloo Cycling Club started their ride, which was 20 or 30 minutes later, and they caught us in Maryhill, and they were shocked that there were riders that were up the road so far that they took so long to catch, because they were catching riders all the way through the 50, 60K ride. And we were one of the last ones that they picked up. And from there, met Roy Conway, met a couple of other old timers from the Waterloo Cycling Club. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we started cycling. That was mid-August. And we started cycling with the club the following spring.
So are they the guys who took you under their wing? They're like, who are these
for
kids
sure
on these bikes and that are so fast?
Yeah, we weren't on drop bars, we weren't on racing bikes, we were just on beater bikes that the kids use today to go, if you will, mountain biking. But we were just on bikes that we had laying around. They certainly weren't racing at all. They were just bikes that we rode.
Well, you know, and those are those things, like you see somebody go fast on one of those bikes, you know, they can certainly
they can go fast on a big bike. Yeah,
they can. Something a lot of years. So that started your, I guess, long-term career in cycling. So where did you go from there? Like, you start racing, or like how did it start?
As a 15-year-old,
there
was nothing but racing. There was no mountain bike at the time. There was no rate. You know, there was nothing other than you're training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to race on Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
And the Ontario calendar was populated with road races. So we would go to the open road races that we could get into on the weekends. And that was the introduction. There was no social riding. There was no group rides per se. It was either
training. There
was basically, you rode in a race on Tuesday, Thursday, and those were the prep for the weekend races.
Oh my gosh. Wow. How things have changed, right?
Oh, now there's formulas, and you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and don't do this on a Monday, but don't do that on a Tuesday, and you got to do this on a Thursday. It's nothing's changed in 50 years, honestly.
Oh, really?
Honest.
Oh, I thought you were saying it had.
No, well, the technology has changed.
Oh yeah.
But riding your bike through the week is exactly the same. Mountain bike, road bike, doesn't matter. As long as you train, you'll do well whenever there's a race.
Oh, so there's no method to the training. I'm just kidding.
Well, there is.
I was saying,
my point is, if you ride your bike, you will get better.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's right. So now, did you spend all your high school racing and then into college? So how did you find yourself at Forest City? Because that's a considerable gap. I don't know when you started at Forest City, but
how
did you get there?
We started Forest City Velodrome back in 2005.
Okay, that was when it was built?
So that's when the track was built. But before that, the Shell Strait family, the Coulier family, was involved with a 125-meter velodrome that fit in a hockey rink in Delhi, Ontario. Tillsonburg, Delhi, Simcoe. Those are big tobacco farms at the time.
Right.
And very, very high levels of Belgium ancestry was in those three towns: Tillsonburg, Delhi, Simcoe. Okay. So they had a heritage of indoor cycling, track cycling in the summertime. because
Oh.
hockey was big in the winter. They converted the arena to a portable track, basically, for the summertime, starting in April. Right around now, the ice would come out, the track would go in, and they'd
No
hold
way.
they
Like
would
a
hold
portable track?
they well, it was in and out.
Yeah,
So
but like
what?
a tear down and then bring it back.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, cool.
Correct. So they would hold three, depending on 3 or 4 6-day bike races, where they'd bring in Belgium from Europe, they'd bring in French riders, they'd bring in
Oh wow.
Americans, and it was very popular. 12, 14, 1,500 people at a night's race.
When was
Back in the
this?
day, there were riders like Jocelyn Lovell, Gord Singleton, uh, Peter Junick, Peter Penman,
Hmm.
of that vintage, back in that era. Those guys were the guys that 15, 16, 17-year-olds looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go down to Delhi to train 3 days a week on the track. And that was the introduction to track cycling.
Oh, so is this in the 70s?
I don't want to say.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s.
Okay, so when I was born.
Mid
Okay.
70s.
Yeah, okay. All right. So
That
fun
would
stuff
be
is
for the young kids. That's 1970s.
That's when your mom was probably born or your dad was born. Back in the day when Elvis was alive. And anyways.
Correct. Yeah. Stuff.
But no, but that's interesting. Keep talking. So how did it evolve?
So we went from riding and racing down in Delhi, Simcoe. They would hold 4, 5, 6 races a year. On a Tuesday night, they would throw a race on at the Belgium Club. We would go to Simcoe on a Thursday night to race, not a midweek like what would be in Mississauga now, but it'd be a one-of race in the residential area, and they just cordon off the roads,
okay,
and get it done.
wow.
So it was a hotbed of cycling, and that basically is what translated into the Forest City Velodrome, because many of the Belgium folks that loved bike racing would attend our races at FCV every Saturday night.
Right. Nice.
So that's how I got involved with the racing side, the sports side of competitive cycling. As a 15, 16, 17-year-old, we would go down there all the time and hone our skills. It was all skill. It was all skill development, learning how to pedal, learning how to bike handle, being able to figure out how to pass somebody without knowing how to do it. So we learned all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. So did you end up taking a break through your 20s? Like most people kind of do? Or?
Interesting. We were, and I remember this specifically, we were training for the track nationals. Jocelyn Lovell was the team leader, and we were a week out from track nationals in Montreal, mid to late August of whenever it was. And we were out motor pacing. I was behind a Volkswagen Rabbit with the hood up, doing 100 kilometers an hour in a silly gear. And we were last effort, and one of my knees popped. And I immediately told the fellow that was driving the car, I said, I hurt myself. You guys go on ahead. I'm just going to roll home, which was 15K. And as it turned out, I raced the following week with major knee injuries, and caused me to basically stop cycling the following year. And that was as a 21-year-old.
Oh, shoot.
So I remember that specifically. And my knees didn't heal for 5, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
Back, if you think back in the 80s, early 80s, there
Yeah.
were there weren't the technology in surgery. You couldn't go in and take a look inside of things.
Yeah.
And I didn't want people to slice up my knees. So I just said, I got to take a little bit of time. So 25 years went by, and then I came back cycling, and it was specific to, they were building a track. Ontario had never had a track since the Delhi Velodrome indoor track. They didn't have a track for 20, 30 years. Everybody chatted, oh, we got to build a track. Oh, we're going to build a track.
What happened to that track that they put up and took down? What happened to that?
I believe at the time, and this is going back a long time,
Yeah.
I believe they put it into a tractor trailer. Somebody in Ottawa area invested in it. And when they opened the trailer up 18 months later, water had leaked and the track was ruined. So those are little things that nobody knows about. But what happened?
Wow. So that was it. Like somebody bought it from Ontario, Ottawa, and then it left, and nobody did anything else. Like, how could it have stopped
for
like
30
that?
years? Literally for 30 years, there was the Windell Park. It was an outdoor asphalt, very rough. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it.
Yeah.
But for 30 years, there was talks of, oh, we're going to build a track. Oh, we're going to do this, and it just never happened. Nobody had the money to do it.
Wow. I'm surprised, because if it seemed that, I don't want to say simple, to uninstall a track like the one previous, that there would have been something in there a lot faster to replace it. How could they have let it go?
Track cycling in Ontario went from, I remember running the Ontario Championships with 50, 60, 80 riders at it in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And in a matter of, at Windell Park, I remember when I left cycling because of injury, there were no champions to take it to the next level, unfortunately. And
oh, no way.
And it went 20, 25 years more that there weren't any venues to play at. So track cycling went downhill very rapidly in the province of Ontario, and wasn't revived until 2005, when Albert, Ron and Bob and I built the track in London at the Forest City Velodrome.
Wow. I mean, I know that's history, but I'm really surprised that somebody didn't pick it up. Anyways.
Lots of talk.
Well, yeah, I guess, because it probably, like anything, it's a big commitment if you're gonna take something over of it certainly sounded like that magnitude, like how big, like, anyways.
It was huge. Ontario produced some really good athletes, national level track cyclists through the 70s and 80s into the 90s even, and it just sort of went away. As does a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess.
It evolves. Back in the mid 80s to 90s, all of a sudden mountain bike crept into the thought of different coaches and athletes, and that was a whole new genre of cycling.
That was in the 90s, right? Because that's kind of when, yeah, because I got my first road bike in, I want to say like 91. And then when I moved to Ottawa, mountain biking was kind of the new thing. It was kind of taking over road. And I remember like there was absolutely no shocks on it. It cost $700, my first mountain bike. I still have it. It's a beater bike. Like, it's the one that I take to like the ice cream stand and back with the kids. But I mean, it's still an amazing bike. I even have my first hardtail. But so, all right. So in that time, obviously you went to school, got married,
Yep.
had kids,
Yep.
came back to the sport. Did you get your kids involved in the sport?
Melanie was a dancer.
Oh,
So ballet tap and jazz.
oh, hey.
And at the studio that she was dancing at, it took up tons and tons of time. She was a teacher, so it was one of those, as always happens. You'd like to get the kids involved, but they were off in a different direction. You win some, you lose some.
I was a dance mom for a bit. That's crazy. I was a gymnastics mom for a bit. That was crazy too. But my younger kids, I have 3 kids. And actually, you know what? My older daughter, who went through gymnastics and dance and everything, she just got accepted into the Ontario para athlete development program.
Nice.
Yeah, she's visually impaired from birth. And we always said, oh, I wonder what we could do with you. Like, I don't know.
Para sports are just going through the roof right now. Like there seems to be
They're really recruiting in that department.
Lots of government money, lots of anticipation for, because they're on the sports side of things. There's not a lot of the para athletes that know where to go.
Yeah.
Whether it's cycling or bowling or any of the sports that the kids get involved with.
Yeah. I've also seen, like, when I've been racing, that the para, like the athletes that I've seen on the start line at certain like nationals and provincials have always been very small, and they've been there for many years. So I imagine that they would like to retire and they need new blood to come, come and take their place, right?
Time. It just takes time.
Yeah. And so, all right, now you're in Forest City. You've decided to go ahead, partner with a couple guys, and build in 2005. That's funny. That's the year I started racing with a couple girlfriends. And I guess that's when OBC started going and you started running kids programs. Tell us about how that all got launched.
It's interesting. The kids programs at FCV were basically September to April. And we would have kids come out and ride on the track on Saturday afternoons. And we'd coach them and train them and get them to do all the skills and get them to race on Saturday nights all winter long. And we didn't have a road program at the time. It was our focus was on track cycling or mountain biking at that time. But in 2005, 2006, 2007, we said, you know what? All these kids are riding, and all these kids meant 15 or 16 kids through the wintertime. We're coming twice and 3 times a week for training. And come April, we'd say, see you later. And we didn't think that we should have a road program. And all of a sudden, somebody, Reese Bateman, said, one of the mechanics, one of the old time trackies in Ontario, said, hey, Rob, why don't we do something in the summertime? I can refurbish some road bikes and we can make them available, because the kids couldn't ask the parents to go out and spend $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 on a bike, because what if the kid didn't like it? So what we did was, with the kids that we had in the program, we said, hey, parents, do you want to get involved with some road rides? They'd be Saturday morning starting at 10. And then if the weather's crummy, we'd start at FCV, Forest City Velodrome. And if the weather was crummy, we'd just go and ride on the track. Parents were up. Parents were double thumbs up. So we took the kids out for our very first road ride. There was 12, 14 kids. And if you think of a track bike as having no brakes and no gears, the kids left the parking lot. We go to the first stop sign. the first two kids that were on the front knew how to brake, but all the kids behind were backpedaling.
Oh my gosh.
And all of a sudden they started to pound. It was like the Keystone Cops were in a matter of 25 feet,
you're like,
10 meters, they had 12 kids on the ground.
oh my
Because
gosh.
they didn't know how to brake. We didn't even think of it. So we turned the kids around. It was only 200 meters. We turned the kids around. We got to go to the parking lot and do some skills.
Yeah.
And that's where, if you think about it, 20 years later, that's where, or 15 years later, for KW Cycling Academy, that's where our parking lot skills and drills came from. And people go, well, why do you call it parking lot skills and drills? And I said, because if you take a kid that's 10, 12, 14 years old out on the road, that they're multitasking and their brains are going all over the place and they have no skills on how to stop or change gears, you gotta help them a little bit and take them to a parking lot and show them how to stop. So we came up with stop in a box. And they had to stop in a box. And if they can stop in a box, then they're going to be able to stop at a stop sign.
That's so fun. I'm sorry, but I'm just like, yeah, let's go. And they like, just a second, let's backpedal there. I think we need to give them some new cycling skills.
Correct.
I could just see you on that day.
And I remember that distinctly. That was our very first road ride. After riding on the track all winter, and the kids were all pumped up, the parents were happy. We're able to keep the kids occupied for an hour and a half or so, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted.
Oh, these bikes have brakes. What do you mean? I don't understand how brakes work. And they got gears, huh?
I'm used to backpedaling to stop. What do you mean I have to use brakes to stop?
Oh my gosh. But I could just picture myself.
Yeah. So that was 2007, 2008. And from there we had a very successful, out of the Forest City track, we had a very successful run of 10, 12 years of producing athletes, training athletes, making them fast, giving them all the information to be able to comprehend and make quick decisions, whether it was on the road or on the track. And out of that program, we probably sent 12, 15 kids to either junior Pan Am championships or junior track worlds.
Right.
Out of that little program, out of a track that's 138 meters and
138. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, I know it's really small, but I thought it was 160. But 138
meters. And from our perspective, it's the best track. And even today, 15, 18 years later, it's the best track to learn, to gain the skills, and make sure that you know exactly what's going on around you. Because it's like a little country road. Yeah. It's not like the 401 or a big highway.
Yeah. Or Milton.
Okay.
I know. And I'm glad it's still, because I think there was some talk that, things might have closed, were going to close, but Forest is still very open and.
Absolutely. Run by volunteers. It's a track that Ontario and Cycling Canada in general needs.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that because, like I said, I had heard rumblings about things closing and people lobbying to keep it open. And Ed Vale was talking about it.
Correct. Always need funding. Always need donations.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll put a little link there to Forest City if there's a donation portion there that people can go and donate. And if you're ever in the London, Ontario area, if you're from, anywhere, if you can get there, go get there. It's It's a great experience. I've been there, like I said, a number of times. And anyways, we've had lots of fun there. All right, so let's move on to your new passion project that you've had for 3 years. Tell us about it. So Rob, you've gone out and started your own cycling academy.
Cycling team.
Yeah, tell us about it.
What happened, and this goes back 10 years. I've always known that in the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, Guelph, Elmira areas of Ontario, the population's probably 1.2 million now. In that 25-kilometer radius around Kitchener, Waterloo. I've always known that we've had athletes that can succeed at anything. It's a big hockey town. It's a big soccer town. It's a big school sports town.
Yeah.
Where lots and lots and lots of kids play volleyball and basketball, play soccer, indoor soccer now in the wintertime. Huge swimming.
Really?
Huge swimming.
Oh, wow.
The row club, Waterloo Regional Swim Club, has put many kids on the Olympics over 30, 40 years, like massive. So I've known that Kitchener Waterloo area has had tons of athletes. We were never able to tap into it. One kid here, one kid there. And 3 years ago, we decided that, and I say we, there's a board of directors on the team, and we got together and said, okay, how can we make this work? And it's all grassroots. It's taking kids that have no idea that they'd be good at cycling, but we throw a bike at them, give them a bike, and say, come and play. And if you don't like it, give us the bike back. And 3 years later, we've got a membership of about 125. We've got 60. Is
that just 50, kids?
We've got 50 or 60 kids that play on the mountain bike.
Right.
We've got 20 or 30 kids that play on road bikes, and we've got 20 or 30 kids that play on track bikes. So, and I use the word play, meaning anything we do cycling wise, it better be fun.
Right.
So whatever we do training, playing.
Right.
And whether it's sprinting or endurance work or torturous hill climbs or hill repeats or motor pacing, or it's got to be fun. And if you make it fun, it's playing on the bike. So that's what we started to do 3 years ago. And we started with 12 to 13-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have some cadets and juniors, which are 15, 16 and 17, 18-year-old kids in the junior category.
Yeah.
But our focus is on the 10 to 13-year-old.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, through the wintertime with COVID, we said, how can we get more kids on bikes?
Right.
And 3 years ago, I said, I wanted 10 new kids on bikes. That was our slogan, getting kids on bikes.
Yeah.
And it went from getting one kid on a bike to getting 10 kids on a bike to now getting 100 kids on a bike. On April 10th, we're taping this on April the 1st. So 10 days from now, we're doing a mountain bike skills assessment day.
Right.
And as of April the 1st, today, we've got in excess of 135 kids signed up to do a skills day in a park in Kitchener. And basically that's the culmination of something that started 3.5 years ago with one kid on a bike. How can we get one kid in Kitchener-Waterloo to be on a bike? New kid. And now 3 years later, we've got 130 plus registered to do something on April 10. So
I love this, Rob.
So those are, and that's all mountain biking. I'm the road and track guy. My hands up for road and track.
Yeah, yeah.
But our mountain bike program, that's where all the kids are. That's what all the kids like to do. They like jumping stuff. They like going over tree stumps. They like going through woods and getting around trees and going on trails and discovering things.
Mm-hmm.
So what we as a club's KW Cycling Academy did was we looked at that and said, we can do this. And we've got probably 30 volunteers that look after all of these kids. Again, in 2020, we had 60 kids participating in our programs. This year, we're shooting for 150. Next year, 250.
I love it so much, Rob, because this is really something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And of course, I'm going to take that offline, but I'm really excited that you put together a really good program. And then you're in such a good space for it because you do have the track and the road and the mountain bike. It's not like Ottawa doesn't, like Bromont will have a track soon, which is, I know, going to take us away from going down to Forest City, but then, we'll be able to develop kids down there and it's a little bit closer. Because they're going to have that.
And Ottawa's had a very, very solid bike community for forever.
Oh yeah.
Forever. And lots of kids, 3 or 5 different clubs that participate from Gatineau to Ottawa to the outskirts. There's lots of opportunities for kids to get involved. What we did at KW is we developed champions in each of the different areas, and those leaders, ride leaders, whether it's in Cambridge, whether it's in Kitchener, whether it's in Waterloo, those ride leaders form the nucleus into the club to do trail rides, to just go out and have fun on a bike. And it shouldn't be torturous. It shouldn't be tough. Well, it should be tough, but it shouldn't be
tough.
Be on a bad side of fun tough. Exactly. And it should be fun all the time, whether they're doing specific work, whether they're doing timing systems or whatever. It should all be fun.
Yeah, because that's kind of where, that's a gap that I'm looking to fill here. Oh, did you miss me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you buzzed out for a sec.
Yeah. I know you kind of like buzzed a little bit too, but I think you stopped moving, but I could still hear you. So it was okay. But I was saying,
yeah, it was internet related.
I know.
It was
so
internet
related. Yeah, I know we're at the mercy of our internet like all the time. But that's one thing that has really intrigued me, and especially here in Ottawa, is filling that gap of girls on bikes. And but I'm looking more like 13 and up, like high school, and into the development phase of racers. But I would love to talk to you afterwards about this, because
We've
I'm
got
kind of
30 young ladies. Sylvie, we've got 30 young ladies that are under 15 years old,
I
between
know they're
9
out
and
there,
15 years old.
because you know
They're,
what,
and,
Rob, like
and they all ride
soccer,
bikes.
yeah, but soccer and hockey aren't happening right now. So I think that this is like the optimum time to go out and say, yeah, we've got a little training forum happening, or whatever you're doing in the park, right? And to come out and learn about the club and try out, whether you're,
I'm
so,
not sure, Sylvie, we just blacked out again.
oh no, hold on. I'll wait for you to come back. Keep talking. I can still hear you. Oh, there you are.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay,
there
we're
you go.
back.
I'm waiting for you to move.
Sorry about
Yeah.
that. I think we're back. So,
Yeah, we're back.
So to give you an idea,
yeah.
So
Go
to
ahead.
give you an idea of the young ladies that are participating in our program, we looked at what was happening with COVID back in September, October, November of 2020. And we knew we had a decent number of girls that and the boys look after themselves almost.
Yeah.
But we had a pretty good cohort of young ladies that were looking for things after the outdoor season ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, going back to when I came back racing in 1999 and 1998 and 2000, back in the day, we never had trainers.
Yeah.
We didn't have stationary bikes trainers to ride all winter. And it was one of the things in 2000, as I came back racing, it was like taking a sharp stick and poking me in the eye to do trainer workouts.
Oh,
I remember watching Pirates of the Caribbean endlessly while doing trainer workouts. I hated it. But in September, October of 2020, after the season, road season, mountain bike season, just before the track season, we got hooked up on Swift. And we got hooked up on Zoom. And we as a team would train anywhere from 100 to 130 kids per week, depending on the day, depending on what we were doing, depending on who came. But we would run training workouts on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And we'd have 15, 20, we'd have 30, we'd have 45.
Wow.
Over the, different, depending on the day, depending on what the kids are doing. So that kept the kids active all winter.
Mm-hmm.
And by keeping the kids active on Zoom, Swift, from October, our perspective, they've told their friends, and they've told their friends, and they've told their friends. And now we've got 135 or so riders wanting to come and play.
I love it. I know, it was like you had no choice but to embrace Swift. I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but all the girls I was riding with were on Swift, and a lot. I mean, I was not on as much as they were, but I'm like, a little bit of FOMO was happening, and I mean, but I joined them once a week, like every Sunday morning, and it was really fun. Like, I mean, just to do a meetup. We were actually on a Facebook chat group page, so not Zoom. And that worked out really, really well, like really well.
Yeah.
And
we held a winter race series that would have anywhere from 40 to 50 kids participating with
cool.
their moms and dads.
Oh,
and it basically, depending on the circuit we were doing, and whether it was a volcano circuit on Watopia, or the London crit course, or the Richmond crit course where you'd have intermediate sprints, and I'm doing the announcing, and I'm pretty loud at times, and I'm yelling at the kids, and I'm yelling at the going for 25 bonus points, and everybody seemed to like it.
I know, I can hear you in your basement. You know, like,
Absolutely.
I'm sure everybody upstairs was like, holy gosh.
And the cool thing is, the parents, when you talk to them 2 weeks later, saying, Rob, that was tremendous. My kids are motivated to do something they've never done before, which means come April, right now, they're fitter than they've ever been. Now they can go out and participate and have fun and not suffer like a dog the first 5 bike rides.
Yeah. So, hey, one last question, because now, like I said, I'm going to take this offline. I really do want to pick your brain about this. But where do you see the race season going right now and in your neck of the woods for the spring? Because, like,
interesting you say that, because we've invested in a timing system, a professional timing system.
Okay.
Got the parents to buy in, so they buy the transponders, and at least initially, once this lockdown what happened today is not a good thing, but eventually we'll be able to do not mass start races. I think this summer will be, at least for KW Cycling Academy, we'll be doing time trials
stuff. Oh, okay, so you'll be doing your own stuff.
We'll be
I don't know if he's coming back. Rob. Rob. Okay, guys, I'm just going to say that talking to Rob has been absolute. Hey, okay, so you're going to have to repeat yourself. You were saying you have your own time trials. Oh, now I can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute.
There we go.
All right.
Hopefully you'll be able to edit this quite nicely.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just talking to myself. And Rob is such a great guy. And
so what we've done is we've invested in a timing system that will be able to run time trials through the week, midweek time trials, whatever that means, and not have anybody contact one another. Everybody's got their own transponder. They'll be able to go out, get timing. Kids will be able to have instant feedback and at least be able to be competitive on the local with what we're doing on specific courses. We've also started a sprint school, and the sprint school I've laid out, because I'm a track sprinter at heart. Not that I could ever do it now, but back in the day I could go decently fast. And what we've done is we've laid out 3, 4, or 5 different segments that we can use this timing system for standing starts, for uphill sprints, for downhill sprints, for kilos, for 500 meters. So I'll be able to take kids that have never been involved with sprinting, in fact, hate the word sprint, and make them better.
Wow. Okay, I have to ask you. So you said, so this timing mechanism, they each get their own transponder, that they put on their bike?
Correct.
And then they can start and stop their own
on
event?
On a specific circuit or out and back.
Yeah.
Like a time trial, out and back, start, transponder starts, they finish, and it immediately gets uploaded and they can look at their time.
How did you find that? Is that a cross-country ski thing?
Downhill ski thing.
Really?
We just adapted it to mountain bike, road, and track. I've had the last month or so, I've been doing a fair amount of track experimenting, but we're just about to roll it out for our mountain bikers. And I've held a couple of experimental track things, sprint things, just to work out the bugs, just to make sure that it does what we need it to do. And it's magnificent.
You know what? There's so many good things that have come from alpine and Nordic skiing with regards to improving cycling. Like throughout the years, like, you know, talking to Don Moxley, like all.
Absolutely.
Like,
Don's a very good friend.
Yeah. Do you miss him?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where he's gone. I got to go find him. I need to interview him.
Retired.
I know he retired. I know he's like, I need to get on my own bike. I'm like, yeah, I think you do. But oh my gosh. I mean, we could continue on, but this is amazing. Rob, I want to have you back in the fall after the season because I want to learn. Well, I'm going to be contacting you anyways, but just to hear how it's been going.
You went blank again.
Ah!
You can have me back anytime, Sylvie.
Okay, thank you.
You can call me anytime. You went blank there for a minute.
Yeah.
You can call me anytime and we'll arrange anything.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Rob. You are a saint. I love you. Thank you. And I'll have to come down
Thanks,
here.
Sylvie. Have a great day.
Well, you too. And before you go, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening and catching this episode. Please don't forget to put on your notifications so you don't miss other amazing episodes with guests that I'm going to have on here. And don't forget to leave us a 5 stars plus a review. Right, Rob? We need a good review. You deserve a good review. Absolutely. All right. Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks a lot, Rob. Bye.
Bye-bye.